I'm Megan Albers. Welcome to another Timeless Talk on Lake TV. Today, we're looking back at February 2021 when Lake TV's Chris Schneider sat down for a conversation with Cara Gerdiman, the Executive Director of Kids Harbor. Enjoy this Lake TV Timeless Talk.
Okay, so from like day one that I moved into the community, I heard about Kids Harbor and how great an organization this is. So what is Kids Harbor?
Well, Kids Harbor is a fully functioning child advocacy center. Our mission is to provide coordinated response, healing, and prevention of child abuse. We're both a place and a process. So as a place, we're a safe, child-friendly setting where kids can come and talk about abuse that they may have experienced, and also heal from any of that trauma that they've experienced. As a process, we bring together law enforcement, children's division, juvenile officers, medical and mental health providers, so that kids aren't having to go to the police department and then to children's division and then tell their story to a prosecutor and then have to go have a medical exam. We do all of that in one place at Kids Harbor. Kids are interviewed in our interview room, just the child, and a specially trained forensic interviewer. And while those team members that are investigating the case are watching the interview from a separate room.
It's one of those organizations that it's a necessity. Unfortunately, it's a necessity, right? Absolutely. So your job has to, you've got to hit the highs and the lows of everything in that job, having great days where you know you're just doing great things and helping people, and then probably days that just tear you apart.
We have a really great staff that works directly with kids every single day and listens to the stories of what has happened to them and what they've been through. And our staff, they do a phenomenal job. But there's a lot of self-care and taking care of one another within our staff as well, because those things are hard to hear. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, then we also get to see those kiddos that are going through the counseling process and healing, and we get to follow them through that process and see them graduate from counseling. And sometimes we even have special graduation parties for them when they're graduating from the counseling program, and after they've healed, we've had their safe caregivers there, and we may have cupcakes or something just to celebrate them and how far that they have come through that process.
How cool is that? So now you are the executive director, Cara Gerdiman here, and you grew up in Ozark, I think, not too far away, right?
Absolutely.
In a pretty historic place too, I guess.
Yes. So the house I grew up in, my grandparents lived there before my parents lived there. It was kind of they had a hotel in that area. But back in, I think 1994-ish, somewhere around that time, Johnny Morris, owner of Bass Pro, bought my family's house, and my grandparents lived next door and all the property, and as well as the mill that we grew up next to, running around, and my grandpa worked for years. So
wow.
We have that little bit of history of where I came from.
Did you have to check Johnny Morris's credit before you sold to him, or what? Probably not. So you grew up in Ozark, so you're a Missouri girl. How did you make your way to Kids Harbor?
So I graduated in 1996 from Missouri Southern State College with a bachelor's in criminal justice administration. Mm-hmm. Went to work out of college at the Juvenile Justice Center here in Camdenton as a deputy juvenile officer, and I spent about 10 years working delinquency, child abuse and neglect cases. And an opening came up at Kids Harbor. I'd seen Kids Harbor kind of come into existence in 2001. And I'd seen how cases were handled before there was a Kids Harbor, and then after, Kids Harbor had been here, and how much better that was for kids. And so I applied, and I was hired as a child and family advocate at that time.
Yeah. And just kind of moved up the ranks, and one day you're running the whole show over there as executive director.
Yes.
All right. So is it a job that is fulfilling?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I strongly believe in our mission. I'm a huge believer that kids deserve healthy, happy childhoods, and anything we can do to make a world a safer place for them is one of my highest priorities. Making sure that kids can heal from any of that trauma that they've experienced, and getting them in and helping them find their voice. these kids have been through so much, and seeing them find their voice and open up and share, what has happened. What an honor that is, that a child would feel comfortable with our staff in sharing that, and even going further and deeper through the counseling process and healing, and sitting with them as they go through court, and have to testify in court sometimes, and all of those things.
That was Lake TV's Chris Schneider talking with Cara Gerdiman, Executive Director of a great local organization, Kids Harbor. Thank you for watching this Lake TV Timeless Talk from February of 2021.